With the Age of Sigmar in full swing, there was another insidious force slowly building to a world-ending revelation. Deep within the realms of Shyish, a plan was about to come to its completion. As the forces of chaos and order battled it out across the mortal realms, there was one god from the old pantheon who kept unto himself. Nagash, the supreme lord of the underworld and ruler of the dead, watched over his plan thousands of years in the making. As he kept vigil over his domain, he thought on those who had turned their backs on him, on the soul thief Sigmar, and of the treachery that had led to the most recent of Nagash's deaths. But soon, all of that would be behind him, once his ritual was complete. At the edge of each of the realms, the magic of the lands begins to form into a solid state. These physical manifestations of magic are called realmstone and take a different form in each realm. In the realm of light, you might find Aether Quartz, or in Azir you might find Celestum. In Shyish, the realm of death, however, the magic coalesces into grains of gravesand. So potent is the power of realmstone that even those carrying a single grain of gravesand find that they age a week for every step they take, the desire for power becoming their downfall. Whilst this is an issue for any who wish to gather this powerful resource and live to tell the tale, it poses no obstacle for those who are already dead. Nagash, finding this unique source of power during the Age of Myth, set into place a plan lifetimes in the making. Whilst he fought alongside the pantheon of gods, bringing order to the wild realms and then against the forces of chaos, he always planned for their inevitable backstab. It was the fault of the living that they raged against the dying of the light, and it was he who existed to snuff out that candle. So, he began to gather this gravesand. Whilst his skeleton warriors were already dead, the power of more than one grain of sand proved too much for them. So, Nagash set a line of skeletons across the realm. Endless hordes of shambling bones marching to the edge of the world and back, collecting one grain of sand at a time. When they returned, the realmstone was collected at a site known as Nagashazar, the Silent City. Then, the skeletons turn out and march back to collect more. As you can imagine, this was a painfully slow process, but Nagash was endless and had nothing if not time. Eventually, the power of the realm of death began to move from the edges to the center, the piles of gravesand being used to create shade glass, this new substance being used by the Grand Necromancer to channel power around his city to a central point. Hanging above the buildings, looming over all that resided below, was a grand upside-down pyramid of black stone. The final parts of shade glass formed into a giant point to cap this ginormous creation. This had been Nagash's final plan, to form a site where all the energies of death came to a single point, to create a place worthy of his ultimate ritual, that which would truly bring about the end of chaos. Nagash was going to kill everyone, everywhere. As things started to come to a head, the forces of order caught wind of what was going down. Malign portents of this terrible future began to haunt the dreams of those in tune with the magics of the realms, and they began to muster forces to attempt to stop it. Whilst the forces of order, destruction and chaos all moved on the realm of death in some ways, the undead god was ready for them. He had bolstered his defences and held back these forces long enough to see his plan through. Magic swirled in the air, and the ritual was begun. Nagash poured himself into the powerful construct of the pyramid, drawing the energies of the realm, the energies of death, into that one place. Slowly, the tip of the pyramid moved closer to the ground, inching towards contact. It was then that something happened that Nagash, for all his wisdom and power, had not foreseen. There are a group of creatures in the mortal realms who obsess over Realmstone and love it in its various forms, especially when corrupted to the ways of chaos. Nagash had amassed the greatest collection of Realmstone ever to exist beyond the world's edge, the greatest collection of potential Warpstone, and it attracted these horrible beasts. Unbeknownst to Nagash, a number of Skaven from Clan Slink, led by Cricktail, had infiltrated the Great Black Pyramid in order to steal some Realmstone and scurry back home. Unfortunately, these pesky little fellas were still inside the pyramid when the ritual began, and their chaotic taint twisted the finely constructed ritual taking place. Everything in Nagash's plan had been meticulously planned and pieced together, and a surprise addition of chaotic ratmen threw all of that into disarray. By the time Nagash had noticed the intruders, it was far too late. The ritual had begun, and it quickly began to spiral out of his control. Rather than slowly descending, the pyramid began to spin. Slowly at first, but it soon built up enough speed to generate a vortex of powerful energies. All of the magic of death was being pulled into this one spot, and then being blended into a swirling maelstrom of destruction. With his plans having to change on the fly, Nagash opened himself up to the energies, drawing in as much power as his enhanced god form could endure. Try as he might, however, he could not contain all of the power. It had taken literal ages to gather all of this energy, and it proved more than the Grand Necromancer could handle. The excess energy exploded out from the realm of Shaiish, ripples of death passing over all the lands like a tsunami. The vortex, now known as the Nadir of Shaiish, spun still in the realm of death, acting as an epicenter for a new threat to emerge. As the power washed over the realms, it sunk into the ground and polluted the air. Many were shunted off their mortal coils by this magic, and many more still rose from their graves to attack the cities of the living. Amongst the zombies and skeletons that they might expect, the souls of the dead rose up and joined into the fray in great numbers. It's these hordes of ghosts, ghouls, and other spookies that would become organised into the Nighthaunt processions, their ghostly armies being brought under Nagash's influence and bringing his fight across the mortal realms. It wasn't just the dead who were changed, however, with magic across the realms being twisted by this sudden imbalance. Wizards across the realms could feel that the winds of magic had shifted, and that they could more easily channel them on instinct. Magical items became stronger, and some spells simply refused to disappear once cast, taking on a life of their own. These endless spells took some time to master and understand, with a number of incidents occurring involving spells going out of control. The effects of the Necroquake, as this event would be known, were felt across the lands by everyone, whether it's the endless spells, the fresh hordes of Nagash's armies, or the sense of unease that just hung in the air. Aether gold veins shifted or disappeared, and Realmstone became stronger. Despite the ritual not being a complete success, Nagash had reminded everyone that he was a force to be reckoned with, and his lingering power would remain across the mortal realms for years to come. You can see from all of this why this monumental event heralded a new edition of Age of Sigmar. The Necroquake was the largest defining moment in the mortal realms since the arrival of the Stormcast. The first grand event that affected everyone across every land. God beasts awoke, Sigmar's Stormbolts were revealed, and a number of new armies came into the fray either because of the quake or to deal with the aftermath. It also holds a special place in my heart, as it's the event that really got me into the game. I dabbled in Age of Sigmar before, but my friend's excitement over Nagash's latest plan got me really interested in the developing story of the Mortal Realms, and I can see why this crazy necromancer is so many people's favourite character. As for the Nighthaunt that came from the Necroquake, we'll cover these guys a lot more in a future video on the channel, as well as dive into endless spells and the flavour behind some of them. For now though, we're going to leave the story of the mortal realms here for the time being. As always, thank you for watching the video, and if you've enjoyed it, consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. We've been away for a little while, but we're back now, and we're going to continue doing what we're doing. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.